This is cs952, Introduction to Web Technologies and Design, and we're going to continue working on our page now. And we're going to focus on these two divs that we've added, okay? So right now they're both 6 columns wide. This is the first div. I've clicked on it in my DOM panel, and when I click on it in my DOM panel, I can also see it's highlighted in live view. So it's a div, and the only thing that we can say about it now is that it is a member of the class column medium 6. And if we click on the div that's right after it, again, about the only thing we can say is that it's a member of column medium 6. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to make this first div, I'd like to make it 8 columns wide. Remember, in the Bootstrap framework, we can have up to 12 columns in a row. We have it selected, and when we have our div selected, we have actually two kinds of handlebars on either side of the div. On the left, you can see it says offset column. You may remember that from our index page or our home page. And on the right, we have a resize column. So I'm going to drag that to the right, and as I drag it to the right, you'll see that the class that's being displayed for this div changed from medium 6 to medium 7, and I'm going to drag it over again slowly to the right until it says medium 8. Okay, so now we have two divs. One of them is 8 columns wide and the other one is 6 columns wide. So they're not going to fit on the same row because we can only have 12 columns on a row, and we've exceeded that number, right? We've got 8 and 6, we've got 14 columns. But what we can do is we can make our second column, we can reduce its width from 6 columns to 4 columns. So what I do is I'm going to click on my resize handle, and I'm going to slowly drag that to the left. You'll notice this class of my column changed from 6 to 5, and if I drag it down some more, it's 4, and as soon as I hit that 4 number, Dreamweaver already placed both columns on the same row or on the same line, right? We've got an 8 and a 4. Now I'm going to create some selectors for these two divs that we've created. We're going to use one of these divs, the one that's 8 columns wide. We're going to use that for our video player, and the other one that's 4 columns wide, we're going to use that for our audio player. So this is our multimedia page. We have audio and video on the same page. So let's go to CSS Designer. Under our sources, make sure that we have style selected. Under our @media, we want to have global because these are going to be global rules. And I'm going to click a plus sign and create a new selector. And this one I'm going to call #, which means it's going to be an ID. I'm going to call it video player. So I've typed in the # and then I'm typing video, VIDEO, and then capital PLAYER. Again, no spaces here. We can't have any spaces here, just video player. And I'll use that for assigning properties to the video player. And let's go ahead and make one for audio player as well, since we're at it. So I'm just going to click on selectors, and I'm going to type my #, and then AUDIO, and then player, capital PLAYER. And we call this way of naming things where we have the word start with the lowercase word, and then the second word's in uppercase. We call that camel typing, kind of like camels are supposed to have humps. The words kind of go up and down like humps on a camel. So let's hit enter. Okay, I'm going to make sure that my first column here, the one that's 8 columns wide, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to assign it to my newly created ID of video player. So again, if I go down here under div ID, if I click, you can see that we've got 4 things that we can choose from. Remember, we can only use an ID once per page. So I'm going to click on video player, which now makes my first 8 column div here. It now has an ID of video player. I'm going to click on my second one, which is the 4 columns wide. And when I click on my div ID, you'll notice that video player is no longer available because we've already used it. And I'm going to select audio player. Now let's add in some H2s, some heading 2s to each one of these columns to identify one as being audio and one as being video. So I'm going to select my column here. This is my 8 column wide. It's the ID equal to video player. And I'm going to go up here under Insert, and I'm going to choose Heading, and I'm going to choose H2. Well, we're putting this inside of this div, inside of this column that's 8 columns wide. When we put things inside of things, we nest them. Not going to be before, not going to be after, not going to wrap around it. We're going to nest it. And now we get our placeholder content. Now let's select our audio column. Okay, this is the one over here that says has an ID of audio player. We've got that selected, and again we're going to go under Insert, and we're going to choose Heading and choose Heading 2. And again we're going to nest it. Now I want to change this content, and to me I find it to be the most reliable and effective way to change content when I need to change the actual words displayed on the page. I like to use Design View. I think this always seems to work the best. So let's switch to Design View. And this is what our page looks like in Design View. Not quite the same, is it? So I'm going to highlight this content that says this is the content for layout H2. And down here in my status bar I can see that I am indeed in my first div, the one that's has the ID of video player, and it's 8 columns wide. And I'm going to type in, very simply, I'm just going to type in video, V-I-D-E-O. There we go. Now I'm going to go to my second column, the one that has the ID of audio player. You can see it has an ID of audio player. We've highlighted the text in the H2, and I'm going to type in audio, A-U-D-I-O. Got that. Let's go ahead and hit Save All. Now I want to add a new line to my page. So I'm clicking, this is my cursor inside of video, this is my cursor inside of audio. I'm going to click to the right of the word audio, and I'm going to press Enter on the keyboard. And when I do that, we get a new line. You can also see we have a paragraph tag. And I'm going to type top 5 songs about pencils. If you have a list of 5 things appropriate for your website, I'm going to, in this case, we're going to be putting a list of 5 songs about pencils. But if you have a list of 5 things that you'd like to list out for your website, this would be the chance to get that together. We'll come back and we'll start to add that content to our page. I'm going to go ahead and hit Save All, and then we'll pick this up again here in a second.